Now we've reviewed the records in a manual sense, we are going to go through how we create a session in order to take you along the 5-step process on how we get to that final stage for review. So here we've run these sessions, and we're going to run through how these are created and the rules that are defined in order for you to find duplicates specific to your CRM. So if we go up here, we have a Create Session button, and here we are going to start by defining the entities and the session names for the match session that we are going to run. So if we have here a demo session that's running, we can choose a single entity to start with, and we can say we want to run in the account, contact, or lead entity. So if we choose accounts, we can load in a view if needs be to subset the data. However, we'll run all of the records. And we've now set up the session to run and what entity we want to dedupe. We go next, say no. Stage number 2 is defining what attributes we want to use for matching purposes. So here we've made a group where we're going to use account name for matching. We're going to use addressing, if we tick this box for matching. And we've included the attributes we want to use. The same for postcode and the same for website. If we want to add another attribute, we can go up here and maybe we want to use email. So if we make a group email, we can add that. We can go and search for email, and that can either be by display name or schema name. So here we have email there. That can then be pulled into this group, where we can then define how we want to use phonetic algorithms to increase the number of matches in our data set. So we might want to use an exact match, where we say there's no match key, and we just want to use string on string value, and we want to say that it has to be exact. And now email string to string must be exact. However, with account names, we might use a DQ phonetic algorithm, which has been developed over the past 25 years in order to help you to increase the number of matches that are found in your CRM system. So here we've defined the criteria that we want to use for matching. Now we're going to look at how we transform that data purely for the purpose of matching in order to increase the number of duplicates that are going to be found. So here, if we expand, we have pulled in transform rules. For here we have transform words, and we have applied that to our account name group. So if I double click on this, we can say, well, what method do I want to use? Do I want to abbreviate? Do I want to elaborate, exclude, or normalize values? So if I go to exclude, and I say, and this can be done for addressing, businesses, countries, names, and so on. If here we use business because we're working on the account name, we can add that rule. And here we can have DQ Global Limited. This is testing the rule now that we've applied. And that will go off and it will therefore remove the business extension because that's what we've asked it to do. If we wanted it to normalize, we can add that rule. And what it will do is therefore normalize LTD to capital LTD, and the same for limited will normalize, along with a whole other set of transforms in order to perform operators on values to therefore increase the number of matches. So you might have postcodes that have zeros and ones in rather than O's and L's. And that's all about normalizing incorrectly inputted data in order to standardize it to increase the number of matches. So once that's all set up, we can go through and decide to what level of certainty do we want to return results. Do I want all of my matching criteria to be 100% so that they have to be exactly the same? Or do I want them where there's some discrepancies, but I want to bring them back for a review so that I can decide if they're duplicates and how I move information around as seen in the previous video. So this is the level of certainty and setting the threshold. Next, and finally, we can customize the display screen for when we are reviewing records. So here we have some attributes that are not necessarily used for scoring, but we want to use for matching, sorry, but we want to use them when we are viewing the records for review. So again, we can add a group and maybe we'll say date. And we can go and say, maybe we want to look at the created on date for the records, because that's my deciding factor. And maybe I want to put modified. And I can drag them into a date group. And that will then show me the results and will show me the attributes of created on and modified on. If we start that, that will then run the session. And you will return the results as seen in the record review video previously.